guests of the BlueSky Aviation company here in Kladno Airport. So that's why I would like to introduce Jan Kopsa, who is the sales manager of BlueSky Aviation. First of all, how the school was originated, like created, so about the history of the school, please.
Thank you for a nice introduction, and thank you for having me. Thank you for visiting the school here at Kladno. And regarding BlueSky Aviation, the company started in 2016-2017. We started with one aircraft that was basically used for the initial training, literally the first training that pilots do when they want to become an airline pilot. So we started with this, and over the years we built up to a bigger fleet, and basically right now we have a facility, and we are able to provide all the trainings which a student or a pilot needs in order to become literally from zero, from the scratch, to become an airline pilot.
What the idea was at the first beginning, like it was like the idea of the creating of the school, or?
Yes, literally at the beginning the idea and the plan was to build a big flight school which will be facilitating students from all over the world and just basically helping them become a pilots from zero.
And how many aircrafts do you have right now?
Right now we have over 25 aircrafts. The number is still changing because during winter we don't use so much aircraft. So for example, some of the aircrafts we lease or we rent for the summer period. So usually during summer we have a lot of aircrafts here. During winter, not so much.
Maybe you can also tell about the types of the aircrafts that you have. So maybe like for one person, like a two-person, four-person, I don't know.
Yeah, so for the trainings, we operate aircrafts which are two-seated. So there is a space for a student and for an instructor. Most of the aircrafts that we have two seats. Then we also have quite a few aircrafts that has 4 seats. So basically you can still have a student and instructor.
You said the faster aircrafts. What's the average speed of the aircraft you have?
So the two-seated aircrafts, usually the speed of those aircrafts is around 100-110 knots, which can be 160, 170, 180 kilometers per hour, all the way to 135 knots, which is the training aircrafts usually. So it's like 250 kilometers per hour. That's the usual speed or the range from 150 kilometers per hour to 250. If we are talking about those aircrafts that we use for aerotaxi, the speed can go all the way up to 350 kilometers per hour, up to 400. Right now we are also having a bit bigger aircraft, a bit more powerful, and this aircraft can go all the way up to 500 kilometers per hour.
Okay, amazing. And do you have the such kind of services here for the parking of aircraft of any people?
Yeah, sure. We actually here in Kladno Airport, we have quite 2 big hangars that we operate. And we have also a facility to basically, if somebody arrives and he wants to just store his aircraft for some time, or he literally is living nearby in this area and he wants to keep his aircraft here at the airport, we have places where he can put the aircraft, and basically he can rent the place in the hangar and then he can have his aircraft there.
What's the price for such kind of renting, if you don't mind?
It depends on how big the aircraft is,
okay,
how long he wants to stay. So the prices can be different, but compared to the region that we are in, which is very close to Prague, actually, which is the capital city of Czech Republic, and we are very close to Prague International Airport, I think regarding the prices, we are very low compared to the other airports.
I think to our subscribers also will be very interesting to understand. So I would like to be the pilot from zero. What should I do? And what should you expect from me, from the documentation, whatever? So what should I submit to you?
So the first thing, if you want to be a pilot, I would suggest to visit us. Ideally, we can do an online call or literally visiting the flight school. I will show you around, I will show you the aircrafts, I will show you all the prices, all the price list. I will give you a full briefing on how to become an airline pilot, so you know the specific steps, because the way to becoming literally an airline pilot is quite complex. There are some things which you have to go through. So I really am very happy if I can explain the student before he starts the training, so he can really know the data and he can decide for himself if he's really willing to do that. Usually, all the people that just wants to do the flight training, they are usually very dedicated and they just want to become a pilot. So after I show them, even though it's a long way and there is a lot of things to do, then they are still very passionate about it and they're just like, yeah, fine, I will do it. Yeah, let's start. So ideally, just go to, you can text me on our website in blueskyaviation.cz. There is a number, you can text me on WhatsApp, call me, go to flight school, see everything, we will do a quick briefing, and then all I need to do is just fill an application form. You don't even provide me any specific documents, and you can start. You can literally start with the intro theory, and then you can start flying. There are specific documents which you need to attain during the training, but that's nothing that you need to have in advance. We will help you with getting those documents. For example, you need to have an OK from a doctor. This doctor is like specifically certified to do checks on pilots. So we can give you all the data, we can help you book the assessment with the doctor. And then there are other like exams, for example, to test your English proficiency. If you are a foreigner and you are flying in Czech Republic, then you need to show the authority that your English level is good enough to operate a radio station inside of a country that is not English speaking. So basically, for this purpose, we have a certain exams, and also we can do those exams here at Kladno with our instructors. We have our examinators. So that's another thing that we will provide to you. So at the beginning, you don't need any special documents. You just need to arrive, have the intention to become a pilot, and just sign up and start.
Aircrafts which we have right here, they're like active.
Yes, all of them, yeah.
Okay, so because I just want to give, can you give a couple of words and explain what the aircraft is and for which purpose do you use this?
Good, so this aircraft is Diamond 42. It is actually a four-seater. It has two engines. Compared to the other aircrafts, this aircraft is quite special because if you start as a pilot, you are starting with a one-engine aircraft. So there is basically you, instructor, the wings, the fuselage of the aircraft, and then one engine. And during the training, because of course being a pilot usually doesn't mean flying in one engine aircraft. Usually you are flying an aircraft with two engines. So that's the purpose, to basically, during the training, at one point, it is quite further along the way, let's just say it's the one step before finishing the training, is to get used to flying an aircraft with the two engines. The reason for that is because when you are flying with a one-engine aircraft, you basically are training every time an engine failure. You are basically like training, so you are ready to have an engine failure of the one and only engine that you have at in the aircraft. And the procedure to handle this is quite specific. With this aircraft, it's different because you still, if one engine fails during the flight, you still have another engine which is running. So what we do with this aircraft is it is called a multi-engine training, yeah. And what we do most of the time, we just want to get the student get used to flying a two-engine aircraft with only one engine operating. And as you can see, if you imagine one propeller is turning, the other propeller is not, it is called an asymmetric thrust. Thrust is literally a power. Yeah, it's like something that is pushing the aircraft forward. And when you have a pushing force on one side and on the other one, you don't have it, then the aircraft makes a turn, or it makes the aircraft turn. And what a student with this aircraft literally is learning is to basically get the aircraft under control, even though the force that is being pushed the aircraft forward is not symmetrical. So that's what we use it. Otherwise, this aircraft was manufactured in Austria, actually. It is quite new. It is equipped with modern avionics. There is a Garmin G1000, which is one of the most modern systems that an aircraft can have. And actually, this aircraft is very special. I would say everybody loves that.
Okay.
Because as you can see...
Me too, by the way, yeah, because first of all,
Yes.
I like this so much.
Yes. The aircraft has a huge wingspan, which makes the aircraft quite stable. The engines are 2-liter diesel engines, which you put actually usually in the normal aircrafts, you just put, let's just say like a better gas, which has the octane number of 100. This aircraft uses a jet fuel.
Okay.
So the same fuel that you put in the airline aircraft, you put in this aircraft. So it has a 2-liter diesel engines, which have a quite good horsepower, which makes the aircraft quite powerful. And for example, the climb and the performance of this aircraft is very good. And the overall experience of flying this aircraft, because I had an opportunity to fly with this aircraft, is very nice. The aircraft handles very nicely and flies very smooth. It's very maneuverable. So if we have an instructor who's flying with this aircraft, and he's also flying with the other aircrafts, he's always looking forward to fly this one.
That's nice. And what's the average speed of that aircraft?
This aircraft can go up to 300 kilometers per hour.
Okay,
yeah,
then not bad. Not bad. But I think that this aircraft, as you already explained, not for the beginning. So not for beginners.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yes.
I think that at the beginning, the pilots and the students, they need to use like a 2 seats but 1 engine aircraft. So which one is just for the beginners? So just show me which one can I use to be the beginner with the instructor.
If you look at all the aircrafts that are here, you can use every one. Every one of them you can use from the beginning. There is, of course, there are different models. Here specifically we have 3 models. Those are all Cessnas actually. So
yeah,
those all aircrafts have been made in USA. So they are Cessnas. We have 150 here in front of us. Then we have 2 152s. That's just the same aircraft, but basically a more powerful engine. And then we have 2 Cessnas 172. Those are also can look very similar, but they are not 2-seaters, but 4-seaters. And then in the back, there is Cessna 182, which is very similar as 172, but it's a bit bigger, different wing shape and different engine. So, but basically, if you want to start, you can pick.
Okay.
So what I do?
That's nice. I'll pick the red one. That's my favorite color.
The red one. Cool.
Okay. Do you have, by the way, the accommodation for the pilots, like, or for the students?
Yes.
Here?
Yes. We do provide accommodation. We do provide here in this area and then also in Prague. Accommodation. So if somebody is like international, he's coming over to Czech Republic for the training from abroad, then he definitely can get the accommodation with us. It's quite favorable price and it's always ready for the students.
And this is far from here?
We have one accommodation here, literally at the airport, and then we have one very close to Prague International Airport.
So you mentioned the Václav Havel Airport, which is not far from here, by the way.
Yes.
I think it's couple tens of kilometers, maybe something
yeah,
like this?
By car it's like 15 minutes
15
drive.
minutes, yeah. So it means that when you have the flights here, how do you behave with the central tower, like operating tower in the Václav? So do you inform them that you have the flight? So how do you move this? Or you're totally independent?
So it is basically, I would say this airport is the one that is like the closest to Prague International Airport actually, which makes it a bit more challenging to fly here. There are an options in Czech Republic when you have a smaller airfield very close to a bigger international airport. You are somehow connected to with the radio communication to the tower that is there. Here it is not the scene. It is a bit different because, of course, Prague International Airport is very busy, and if they would be even handling the traffic that is here, I think they will be quite overloaded. So we basically created an airspace, or they created an airspace for us that is basically like used only for us. It is a bit more tight than in the other airfields, but it's still here, it's for us. So we have our own airspace around the airfield. When you are, for example, when you are approaching the runway here from literally like from the Prague International Airport, you can very clearly see the whole airport next to you. Basically the tower that we have here is operating the airspace around the airfield, and we don't need to communicate with them. They know about us, they always see us on the radar, but the cooperation is very smooth, and usually if they need something, if there is something wrong or they feel like there is something wrong or they just need to fix something, they just call us on the tower, and we have a quite smooth cooperation with them.
All of us, we use such kind of applications to monitor right now the flights, and as well one of the famous, I think there's a FlightRadar,
Yes.
which we use normally.
Yes.
And are your aircrafts indicated in the FlightRadar as well? So all the aircrafts which you have, let's say, the indicators and the special tools for that?
Some of the aircrafts actually are not indicated on the FlightRadar, but I would say most of them are. So you can see them on the FlightRadar. If you look at the registrations here, you can find them where they are flying and stuff. So we use that quite often, you know, when you are on the ground and you just want to see like how further away is your aircraft that you will be using in 30 minutes, then you can just look at the FlightRadar. There is a system basically in the aircraft that is made to transmit the data to the tower stations. If they are equipped with the radar, they can see you, so they can help you with navigation. If there is something wrong, they can always assist you because they know your correct position. And based on this system, the FlightRadar can also track you. Some of the aircrafts that we have, they don't have such advanced tracking system, so they are not visible on the FlightRadar, but most of them, they do, and you can see them.
When do you normally, under which terms and conditions do you cancel the flights?
So I would say in Prague, compared to the other places that I was able to see, Prague is quite predictable. The weather usually during the year is quite okay, so we are able to basically operate all year long. But let's just say, usually the reasons why we cancel the flights because of weather is because there is a strong wind, which is not good for the training flights, because there is a lot of, if there is a wind, then there are turbulences, and flying a small aircraft in strong turbulences is not so comfortable. And also, if you are a student and you know the aircraft shakes all the time, you just don't learn too much.
Yeah.
You're just like scared. So, and then there is another reason for canceling the flights in summer is the thunderstorms. So if a thunderstorm approaches, then we have to cancel the flights because it's dangerous flying in a thunderstorm. But usually those thunderstorms, they pass very fast. So, you know, you just see at one point, you just see the huge thunderstorms approaching the airfield. Everybody is like sitting on the ground, and then when the thunderstorm is like gone, then everybody's like, yeah, let me go flying. And then of course the fogs. Like if you have fog, there is no way these small aircrafts can fly.
By the way, how many pilot students do you have right now in the school?
I would say right now we have around 50 to 60 pilots in the school, like literally like right now doing the training. Most of them are part-time pilots, so let's just say they have a full-time job, or they are living abroad and they are just like going on and off for the flight training. I would say we have like 3 to 5 students that are literally like here and flying every day very intensively.
And most of them, like the students you have, they're local people or they are the foreigners?
Usually they are foreigners. I would say this year it was really like most of them were foreigners. We have students from Korea, we have students from Malaysia, we have students from Philippines, we have students from Switzerland, Germany, Slovakia, and like a lot of European countries. but also we have a lot of students from Czech Republic.
What do you give, by the way, at the end of the study? The license or the certificate? This is the first question. And then, is it international recognizable?
Yeah. So basically, we are an EASA-approved training organization, which means we operate under European Aviation Safety Agency, which covers the whole Europe. And the license that you get from us is basically EASA license. The EASA license is recognized by all of the European countries. Yeah, so that's like, you don't need to, you can basically take this license, you can go to Spain and you can show the license and say like, I want to rent an aircraft, and they will rent you an aircraft. So in Europe, it's recognized basically. If you will go abroad, the European Aviation Safety Agency is, you can look at it from a point of view that it is like the most hard to get, I would say. There is a lot of things which you have to go through. The minimum requirements for a pilot are very high compared to the other aviation agencies all over the world. You can say that. So basically, if you go to other places, this license is actually not that hard to convert.
Okay.
So you can go to other place, convert it, do some training.
In average, I mean, like if we take the ordinary student, let's say, with the not, let's say with the average number of lessons that he got from the school, okay, what is the length normally from the zero till the getting the license at the end, from your experience?
From my experience, so you mean like from zero, basically?
From zero to the license that you got, you
and then you can apply for an airlines.
Yeah.
How many lessons?
I mean, like what the length? 1 year, half a year, 2 years. So
okay.
how much time does it take?
How much time? Okay, so if we have a student that is like literally living here, doing the training full time, and he's like a fast student, then he can finish the training in year and let's just say 3-4 months. It can be very fast. For example, me personally, because I'm an instructor and I also did the whole training, I completed the whole training in 3.5 years. I was studying at university in the meantime, and I was also having a job. So I wasn't paying too much attention to it at that time, and I wasn't like doing it so intensively. But I would say the average person who enrolls and who starts the training is done in 2.5-3 years.
Oh, that's nice. So I think this is also an interesting question, because you said you had the work, you studied in the university. Now you're a full-time here.
Yes.
Okay, how did you achieve that? I mean, like, what did you change in your mind? So why pilot? Why this job?
So basically, when I was very young, I had my father is basically an airline pilot. So I was always around planes, and we are living quite close to Prague International Airport. And I used to see a lot of aircraft just going over the house, and I was just always like spotting them. I knew all the names, all the companies. So I was very interested in that. I would never think actually it's possible to become a pilot, because my father, he used to be in army. He used to fly the jet fighters. So I don't know, I was just growing up with the thought that it's impossible to become a pilot, because you have to go through this like army training, which I wasn't like willing to do when I was young. And when I was actually getting older and older, at one point I remember I was just going from school, and I was still thinking about like what do I will be in the future. And I had this question. I was going to home, and I was driving a bus, and I was looking out of the window, and I saw an aircraft, and I was like, well, that would be cool. So I went home and I asked my father, I was like, so what should I do in order to become a pilot? So he kind of explained me the way, and I found out it's actually not that hard. I found out that you have to complete 200 hours. You need to complete all the steps that we do here, and then you can actually apply and you can be a pilot. So I was like, okay, let's do that. And I was 18 years by then, and I literally like in 2 months I started the training, and I ended up being a commercial pilot.
So it means that you had the full support from your father?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Tell me please, now we are walking towards the runway, and before we go there, just can you please give me some idea about the runway itself? Because normally, you know, so the ordinary people like me, you know, not so linked to the pilot and not so linked to the aviation, we think and we normally know about the runway from the not from the grass, you know. So, but see here, I see the runway from the grass. I mean, like the grass runway.
Yes.
So, how it works and what's the length of that? So, is it sufficient for your aircrafts?
So basically, the runway is almost 1 kilometer long. It is a downslope actually. So it is built on a slightly like shallow hill. The runway or the whole airport is here for ages. It was built in for an army purposes, way like years ago, and basically the runway is grass. Here in Czech Republic, we have a long tradition actually of the general aviation. You can call that a small aircraft as a general aviation, and there is actually a lot of grass runways here. This one is quite special because it is longer than the usual runways in Czech Republic. It is equipped with lights.
Okay.
So basically, we can also use this runway during the night. And I've heard a story. I don't know if it's true, but basically, because this runway was used with an army, and you know they usually have a much heavier aircrafts that they use, so somebody said they put it like a concrete blocks. They buried them like a half a meter below the ground, below the surface, all the way through the length of the runway, and then they basically put the dirt on it, and then now it's like this. So
that looks good. That looks good.
So, just regarding the training, actually, the grass runway is more comfortable for the students because you can actually, when you are landing, you can feel that it is softer. Yeah. So for the training purposes, the grass runway is better, but the advantage of this airport also is that if you will take off and you will fly for 10 minutes to the north, you will find an airport which has a 2.5 kilometers long concrete runway. So basically, if the student is flying here, he gets both experiences. He gets the grass runway here, and then we are practicing also landings at the concrete runway, which is very close.
Very good question, because I wanted to ask you, and you just came up with this question by yourself. So normally, if you take off from this airport and you have the nearest airports, like with the runway, so you can normally use the runways. Do you pay for that? Like, does the pilot pay for that or not?
So every time you land somewhere, you kind of need to pay the landing fees. Here, the landing fee is very low. It's 5-6 euros. It's very low. Yeah. If you will go to the other place, which I was explaining, this 2.5 kilometers concrete runway, you also need to pay some landing fees there. Because it's very close and we use it very often, we have kind of an agreement with the owner of the airfield that we are not paying so high landing fees, because we actually do a lot of landings and takeoffs there. So we have kind of like a contract with them. That's why we are using this place also. So each time you land somewhere, you kind of need to pay the landing fees. Yeah.
So, but normally the pilot just can ask for the permission for landing from the airport and just land there.
So there is literally a system which we use and which you will be introduced to when you are doing the training with us. This system is basically like an evidence of all the airports that are being used in Czech Republic. And if you go visit this system, you can see each airport and you can see whether this airport is open or closed. You can see if there are any like specific procedures. Like for example, some of the airports says, before flying here, you need to contact the owner or somebody who's like in charge of the airport, and you can ask for permission, or you can ask if it's okay to land there. Some of the airport is okay, you just go there, you land, but usually they are just open only like the habit that we like teach our students is to, if you are flying somewhere that you are not familiar with, always make a call before, so you know, and you don't have any surprises when you arrive there and you just suddenly see like the airport is closed or something.
Yeah. By the way, I would like to ask you, because here's the sign of the wind. Yeah, so we see the sign of the wind. And do you have like the runway only one way direction, or you depend on the wind?
So basically, yeah, this is called the windsock. It is indicating the direction of the wind. And here, the runway that we use from both sides. And actually the reason why sometimes when you see an airport, sometimes you are landing from one side and then the other way you are landing from the other side, is the reason because of the wind. So for the takeoff and for the landing, both ways, you want to have the wind coming at you from into your face. Basically, we call it a headwind. Yeah, so it is blowing into your head. So right now we see that the wind is coming from literally like from a Prague International Airport. So if it's coming from this side, then we would be landing this using the runway basically uphill.
Yeah, the opposite.
Yeah.
And you said that you're also the instructor. So
Yes.
how many instructors do you have in the school?
So right now we have around 5 to 6 full-time instructors that are working here. We also use external instructors, which means that those instructors, they are flying for, let's just say, an airline company or a private jet company, and they just, you know, when they are free, or let's just say they are working for 2 weeks in a month and then 2 weeks here. So we have like around 6 to 8 external instructors also. Yeah.
Okay. So perfect. What we can do, I think we can move inside in order to speak about the arrangement of the flights, because I saw the schedule on the wall. So you can maybe give us the explanation how it works, and also it will be very, very interesting to see the simulators of the aircraft.
Yes, sure. Let's do that.
Okay. This is what I talked about that was the first thing I saw entering the office, the schedule, how it works. So can you please explain something about this?
Yeah, so basically this is like the timetable of all the flights that we have. Here you can see the columns for each aircraft that we have, and then you have a specific slots which are assigned to a student and an instructor, or just somebody who's like, for example, renting the aircraft. And that's how we operate. We basically have a system where we are reserving the flights for each training or for each pilot that just wants to like use the aircraft for some purposes. And then our students and our customers, they have an access to this program also, so they can basically see it too, and they can, for example, pick their reservations or just like see their reservations and when is their flight starting and who's their instructor. Also in the system we have a web page where you have all the documents. So if you start the training here, you just use this to access your flight schedule, your theory schedule, and also for the documents which you need to study.
Okay, so it means that all the students, they have the online access to the web page.
Yes.
And okay, perfect. And the same you have, as I see, for the simulators.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so now as I see, we're in the classroom. Yeah?
Yes. This is called the briefing room. Also, you can use it as a classroom, but usually it is used for the briefing before the flight.
Okay. It's very interesting, by the way, for the pilot from zero. So which kind of the subjects do they have in a classroom?
So it depends on which training you are doing along the way to becoming an airline pilot. But let's just say if we really like consider all the trainings together, there are those like basic subjects that you have everywhere. There's like navigation, then of course meteorology, and of course a subject which is named aircraft general knowledge, which is just the knowledge about the aircraft. Like for example, where is how is the wing being composed, how the engine works, and all those things. Then, for example, you have a flight planning, you have the performance where you are trying to calculate and see how long the runway you will use for the takeoff, if you will be able to land with this payload and with this fuel on a specific runway. Then also you have subjects like human performance, when you are learning about yourself, literally, like what are the limits for a pilot. Then what are basically like the general things about your eyesight or your hearing, and just a lot of things which you need to cover. And overall, if we look at it, there is like 14 subjects which you are covering during the training. And then of course doing an exams from all those 14 subjects, kind of.
That looks nice, looks good. So normally the teachers who are in the classroom, they are the same as instructors?
Yes, yes, exactly. At the beginning of the training, you usually get like 2 or 3 instructors that are working with you, and it doesn't matter whether you are doing a flight training or a theory training, you will always have this one instructor that is like with you and doing also theory and also flying.
Now I really want to move a little bit to the simulator, that also the part of the classroom as well, but it's really one, for me, it's one more exciting things that could be. And I really ask you to show this, how it works.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. Now we are inside of the simulator cabin, and I'm so exciting because this is the first time for me to be inside. So you need to show me everything, because I'm just, you know, like a kid, not understanding anything of this. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. This is an simulator of an Airbus A320. It is a brand new simulator. We have installed it in December 2023, and we have certified it in January 2024. So it's literally brand new. It still smells like brand new. And yeah, let's take a spin.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So let's try. Okay. So just tell me, before we start, just tell me where I should sit the second pilot.
The second pilot.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, you want to
like
sit
for me, because
for you?
yeah.
Or you're gonna be the captain today. So, welcome in the cockpit of Airbus A320. How do you like it so far?
To be honest, it's better view than in my car. Yeah. So yeah, I see like a more buildings, and yeah. To be honest, I always, when I travel a lot, I'm flying a lot, but basically this for the first time I see the real picture how it could be.
Cool. Okay, so just a quick briefing. Here on your right side, this is called a side stick. This is a thing that controls the aircraft. Yeah. So if you will move it to the right side, then it means we are banking the aircraft to the right. If you will move it to the left side, then it means we are banking the aircraft to the left. If you will bring it towards you,
Fuel input.
yeah, that means we are flying up. And if you
Okay.
will bring it further away
Fuel
from you,
input.
that means we are flying down.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a thrust control. So basically, based on this, you are giving the engines information on how much do you want to put the power in. Yeah, I think we can go now. We can fly.
Yes, let's try. Let's try. I'm so excited to wait.
Okay, so first thing, you have the pedals here. Yeah. So I will help you with bringing the aircraft to the center line.
Okay.
And then at one point, I will want you to push the aircraft up, to lift it up, which means you will take the side stick and you will bring it close to you.
Okay.
Yeah? So you will basically pull the side stick.
Yep.
Yeah? So, hands on the thrust. Good. And now, put the thrust all the way, yeah, forward. One click, second click, good, and the third click, good. And now we can go. Okay, so now the speed is building up. Good, and now you can bring the aircraft, yeah, up. Perfect, and now we are flying.
Nice view.
Yes.
That's cool. Oh my goodness.
Good. Now you can look at the here on the instrument, and now you
Okay.
can hold 20 degrees up. So you hold the indicator on the
Yes.
20. Yeah. So you push it down a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now
you mean
have
here?
the flight director here.
You mean here?
No, no, I mean this one.
Okay.
This one, the cross.
Okay,
Bring it
okay,
down.
okay.
Yeah. Ja. Yes.
Okay. Now I need to keep the 20 degrees. Am I correct?
Yes. Just you see the green cross.
Yes.
You have to keep the yellow dot in the middle of the green cross.
Okay.
It's like a video game.
Okay. So I need to put it into the cross.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Okay.
With the controls, yeah.
Okay, with the controls.
Yes. Yeah, a bit up.
Yeah.
Perfect.
No, I feel myself like I'm start walking as a kid, you know. So and
Yeah.
oh my goodness, it's running.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
running
You have
somewhere.
to go down.
It's running somewhere
Go down and turn to the right.
to the right.
To the right, yeah. Yes, this is good. Bring it back left a bit. This is good.
Okay, I going down. I don't know how it
So now
works.
we will be turning left because we will do one traffic pattern around
Yes.
the airfield, and then you
Okay.
will safely bring us on the ground.
Okay. Do you feel turbulence? No.
Will you be able to continue the interview?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah. So for the simulator. So I mean, like, how many hours do mostly you do the simulator here, like for the students?
So the students usually they do 50 hours on the simulator during the training. It really depends on which program they are. There is several programs, but usually they just undergo 50 hours of flying here with the simulator. And the simulator is used for a bit more advanced trainings. And the reason why we have the simulator here with us is because basically when you are flying the whole training with 200 hours in the small aircrafts, you are basically used to being the one and only pilot in the aircraft, which means you are in charge of navigation, you are in charge of communication, you are in charge of flying the aircraft. Of course, there is an instructor with you most of the time who's like just giving you the instructions, but he's not really there to fly the aircraft with you. He's just there to help you fly it. And after you complete the whole 200 hours, you are usually getting a job at the airlines, and the job at the airlines means that you are flying in such an aircraft like A320.
Yep.
Which means there is not only one pilot, but there are two pilots, and you need to cooperate with the other pilot. So that means that there is a training which you should complete before you are going for this bigger aircraft, and during this training you are basically learning to cooperate with the other pilot. So let's just say at one stage of a flight, I am the one who handles the navigation and communication, and you are the one who flies the aircraft, and we have to cooperate together in order to bring the aircraft safely to the destination. And that's why we have the simulator here, and that's why we got the trainings for our students.
Okay, just as the information. So, what is the approximate price for this kind of the simulator, like normally in the market?
So I don't know the specific price, but those simulators, they can be in the higher hundreds of thousands euros.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, like, okay, I'm trying to fix it. Yeah, I fixed it. By the way, which city is this?
So right now we are actually flying above Prague.
Above Prague.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see the Prague
Shame,
castle.
shame to me. I didn't recognize this. It's nice. Looks good.
So what we are doing right now, because we have departed,
Yep.
we have turned all the way to the other direction, and now we are flying back. The runway is on your left side behind us right now.
Okay.
And we will just fly a bit forward, then make a turn and
Make
try
a
to
turn.
land safely.
Okay. Okay. So how many passengers do we have inside?
Oh, around 165.
Okay. Okay. So normally when you connect, you're always in the communication with the control tower.
Yes.
So you need to what's the period of communication with the control? So you communicate every how many seconds?
Well, basically, there is you can't say that you are communicating every like specific time. It's more like they are directing you, so they are giving you literally like a commands what to do in order to bring the aircraft safely to your destination. So basically, if they need you to do something, they just tells you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's just say when you are flying in the 40,000 feet or in like 11 kilometers above, then of course you won't receive so many commands. But for example, in this stage when we are approaching the runway, then we might receive a bit more messages about the directions.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you remind maybe for yourself what is the funniest moment with the students here in the simulator?
So I wasn't actually able to do the trainings here because I'm not the instructor for those bigger aircrafts. The instructors that we use for such a course here are the ones that literally have been an instructors with the bigger aircraft. So they have been literally doing the trainings for the airline pilots, and usually they are very experienced captains.
Okay.
But if you will ask me about some funny situation which I had with my student, is that or what I don't know if I'm able to say.
You can say whatever you want. In any case, if it's something, we will cut it.
Well, the funny situation which occurred with me was that once I went for a flight, and usually like you do the briefing, you just tell the student what you're gonna be doing, and at one point the student was like very ready, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go to the toilet, please go and prepare the aircraft. So he just went to prepare the aircraft. I went to the toilet and I got back from the toilet, and I was like at the aircraft and he was nowhere, and I was just like searching for him, and I saw him preparing a completely different aircraft, and so I was like, okay, that's cool. So I went to him and I was like, so what are you doing here? And he was like, yeah, preparing the aircraft. And I was like, oh, okay, and which aircraft do we flying? Are we flying this one? And he was like, yeah, we are flying this one. I was like, are you sure? Can you check the documents? And he literally was holding the documents of different aircraft, so we just looked at it and he's like, oh no. Yeah.
Okay.
So now we will descend a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we might prepare the aircraft for landing soon.
I think what is the most, let's say, not the dangerous, but most, let's say, important, or maybe with a higher attention part of the flight? Is it landing, takeoff? What is this? The more difficult, I would say.
The more difficult, I think, of course, will be landing.
Landing.
The takeoff is quite okay because, you know, like you are on the ground and you want to get the aircraft airborne, which is a kind of a, I would say, natural, because if you exceed a certain amount of speed, the aircraft will just take off automatically because it will start generate lift. But the landing is a bit more challenging because you really need to focus on getting the aircraft very close to the ground and then letting it lose the lift and just like really touch down. And of course, like the good pilot wants to have the smooth landing, and that's the challenge, to have the smooth landing.
That's always challenging. Yeah. So in any case, in pilots we trust, yeah.
So we're gonna,
Okay, we're moving to the left a little bit, and
yes.
So, by the way, about the aircrafts, what's approximately the price for the aircraft? Let's say if we take Cessna, or like for two people.
For the rental?
No. I mean, like if you'd like to buy the aircraft.
So it really depends on the model of the aircraft, and also because you see a variety of aircrafts. They were manufactured in a different year, and also they had a different hours on it. So it really depends which model of the aircraft. I think the cheapest option can be few tens of thousands of dollars, so like $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 for an aircraft, which is like mostly used. And then
Okay, so a bit exciting more now.
yes.
We're going down a little bit.
And then of course, like it can go up to
Yeah.
few millions of dollars.
Of course, I
Yeah.
see. I
Yeah.
see. Yeah. Okay, what do you do right now? You're just decreasing the speed.
Yes, I'm decreasing the
Okay.
speed because we are approaching the airport.
Okay.
So I'm just decreasing the speed. So
What should be the approximate speed when you're approaching the airport for the landing?
well, this is also with the small aircrafts, it's quite simple because you have just the cruise speed, then you have some approach speed and landing speed, so it's not so different. But if we are talking about the airliners, they have quite a lot of different options. You can do a high-speed approach, so you can basically like try to really fly fast. Or it depends on the traffic. What the controller tells you which speed to maintain, and just basically, I would say the landing speed of the aircraft can be somewhere around 280 kilometers per hour,
Okay.
300 kilometers per hour, somewhere
Okay.
around that.
And also interesting question, because now I'm sitting as the first pilot, as the captain, and I
Yes.
have this joystick like on the left hand. So what if I'm the right hand person? I should really learn the left hand.
Yeah. It's actually like, for example, me, because I did the whole training on the left seat, because that's where the pilot in command with the smaller aircrafts is sitting. So for example, all the training I did was flying with the left hand. Yeah. Then when I went for the instructor, I started flying with the right hand. So right now I'm actually able to fly with both hands.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. I see. We're approaching. I see a lot of houses.
Yes.
Fuck. Yeah. And is it a little bit fog right now? If I'm not
It's a
mistaken.
bit misty, I would say.
It's misty. Yeah.
2,500.
Okay, 2,500. So, by the way, now we are in the manual management, yeah, of the craft. So,
Yes.
we're manually driving the aircraft.
Yes.
Is it possible to make it in autopilot, the landing in autopilot?
Yes, it is possible. Yeah. Okay, now you can put the gear down here.
Okay.
Just put it. Yeah, you pull it
Okay.
and then down. Yeah. Do you see the? Do you see the?
Yes, I see. I see the. Yeah, I see the runway.
Speed.
In such a way, the captain is normally saying, cabin crew, prepare for landing.
Yes. Okay, now we have to go down.
Okay. So, and you need to follow again the cross, the green cross, or?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And just. Yeah, we need
Okay.
to go down a bit more. Yeah.
Think rate. Think rate.
Okay. You see the runway?
Yes.
Think rate.
Good. So we are approaching. Now you can only
Great.
now you only look out and try to land
Pull
the
up.
aircraft. So yeah, try to
Pull up.
decrease the
Okay.
speed of the descent.
Pull up.
Okay.
And now we will try
Pull
to
up.
bring the aircraft close to the ground.
Okay. 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 I will try. I will try. I will try. And
30.
hop, 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 hop. Hop. I jumped.
Yes.
I jumped. Sorry. Sorry, guys.
And
I
now
jumped.
you just press both pedals. And you
Both
brake.
pedals?
Yes, both pedals and you brake.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. That was interesting.
Cool. You made it.
Okay.
And we are
thank you.
alive.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Thank
pilot.
you.
I think this is the aircraft that you use for the training for the pilots.
Yes.
Okay,
Sure. Yeah.
just the pilots and the let's say the students. They need to know, what are the main parts of the aircraft. Just very
Yeah.
briefly.
So just a quick briefing. This is a Cessna 172. It is one of the newer models that we have. It is actually one of the most modern Cessnas that you can find basically in Europe. It is Cessna 172 SP with G1000 avionics, and the major parts, it's very observable. So you can see the main part is wing, the fuselage, which is basically the main structure of the aircraft where the pilot is sitting. Then of course attached to the fuselage is the propeller with the engine. The engine is piston engine, so it's very similar as an engine inside of a car. Compared to the car engine, this one has an opposing pistons, and actually it is almost 4 liters engine. It's 4 cylinders, and I think it's a 4 liters engine. And of course the final part that we can see is the horizontal stabilizer, vertical stabilizer, and the landing gear. So if you are flying on a family trip or you're just flying somewhere with some luggage, you just open this place and you put your luggage here.
Okay.
And then you just see the cockpit here. So basically I can switch on the electrical power here. You will see the systems will come alive. Basically what we use here, this is called a glass cockpit. The glass cockpit means that instead of the regular instruments like you usually see in the older aircrafts, you just have a display. Yeah, the glass cockpits are now equipped in all of the modern aircrafts. Here you have those conventional instruments which are used only as a standby instrument. So if just anything like doesn't work properly, then you can still rely on those. Otherwise, the aircraft is actually equipped with an autopilot, so it's very convenient for longer flights when you are just flying like straight for like 2 hours. And yeah, otherwise the whole cockpit layout is just very similar as the other modern aircrafts. You just have really the classical instruments, the classical glass cockpit here. You have a very nice, comfortable seats in Cessna. Actually, that's a very big advantage of this aircraft.
Yeah, I
You always
see.
feel
That's
comfortable.
I feel myself like in a limousine, you know.
Yes.
No, but to be honest, basically, this is what I wanted to ask again. So, do you have again the like? It's always the rule that the captain's sitting on the left side.
That's kind of always the rule. Yeah, if you
Okay.
are a pilot here, it's not a captain because this aircraft is for one pilot only. So on the left side, you have a pilot in command. So which is basically the pilot that is like in control of the aircraft. On the right side, there is an instructor. He's here only to make the student learn new things and make the student fly the aircraft safely. But if you are flying alone and you have a pilot's license, then you are always sitting on the left, which means you are in charge of the aircraft. And of course, if we are talking about the airliners, then of course there is always the one on the left is a captain, and on the right there is like he's a first officer.
But this is also maybe a very interesting question. I don't know exactly, but do you have any music here? As the car, you know, so like maybe a CD or whatever, you know. So, which kind of music can you play?
So that's a good question. Usually you have a headset that can actually be connected with your phone and you can play some songs there. I would obviously not recommend it for flying solo.
Okay.
But it's possible. Of course, if you have those headsets and you have them for your passengers, you can always entertain them with some music. The modern aircrafts, actually, they do have a Bluetooth. So you can connect the aircraft
Okay.
with the Bluetooth and you can play songs to your crew. So it's possible.
But how the radio is working? It's like a both channel, so you need to. It's like the push and the answer,
Yeah.
or how it works.
Yeah. So if you take the controls here, then
Yep.
here is basically says mic, which is the microphone, and you just press it and you talk. So here you have control of the communication. You just select the frequency with rotating those knobs, and when you have the correct frequency, you just put it to active mode, and then you just talk to the ATC or whoever is on the frequency and whoever you want to communicate to.
What is normally the students should have the budget for the year, let's say, or till the end of the education here? So what kind of the budget? I mean, like,
Okay.
how much money?
So if we are talking about literally the whole training from zero to basically being able to become an airline pilot, we are talking about, with our flight school, we are talking about 60,000 euros, including exams, all fees, everything. So it's literally the whole pack can be bought by with the 60,000 euros. It is a lot of money. That's 100% true. But it can really gives you a proper education for a very nice job, and for, I would say, one of the most extraordinary jobs that you can get. And yeah, basically the whole price, if we are talking about BlueSky Aviation, the whole price doesn't need to be paid in advance. So for example, what I did, I basically put some money on my account in the flight school at the beginning, and as I was progressing through the course, I was just adding more and more. I was being charged by the flights that I was taking, and just in those 3.5 years, I somehow saved all the way to make it and really pay the 60,000 euros and just really finish the whole training. So it is not like you need to pay in one invoice 60,000 euros. You have to take it as an investment. It is something that you just pay to have a job which will be earning money for you. And still, airline pilots are paid very nicely.
How much money the average pilot is making in the airlines?
Yeah, so it always depends on the region, but if we are talking about the Central Europe, the estimation of the salary, of course, when you join the airlines, you first need to do the training. So you are training under the airlines to becoming a pilot. Then you have a period of time when you are like a pilot, but under supervision. But once you really get the right hand seat, basically, and you are really the first officer, the average salary, I think in right now, in Europe is around 4,000 to 5,000 euros per month.
The pilots also have the free tickets, you know, so or the discounted tickets, you know, to the same airline. So that's a cool thing for the family members as well.
Yes, of course. You can travel with a very low budget.
So thank you, Jan, for your hospitality, first of all all the full information that we get, and what I would like to ask you, just to give some maybe advices to the potential pilots or to the people who are interested in that. So what do you advise in the future?
Regarding the advice, what I would say is that no matter in which phase of life you are, no matter what is the background, there is still a way to become a pilot, and there is still an options, and there is still a chance to really become a pilot. I get students from all over the world, all nations, all ages. What I would suggest, don't lose your hopes, just get the motivation in, focus on your goals, give me a phone call, we can make it go right. We can get you in the cockpit of the airline.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.